Hey, you guys, welcome to another episode of the Square Up podcast, where we help you give your brand a fighting chance. I am Ashley Danielle, and today I have an amazing guest, someone I've known for a very long time. You know what I'm realizing through this podcast? I may not do crazy, amazing things in life, but I know some people who doing some things though. Like, I feel like you guys are doing the great things, and it's my job to just let everybody know about the great things y'all doing. Like, that's my call in my life, is to just let me make sure everybody knows that the people in my life are amazing. So I am excited to have Miss Lasheryl Dotch on the podcast today. Hey girl, hey.
Hi.
Thank you for just taking some time out, because her life is busy, and we're going to get into exactly all the things that she's doing, not just in law, but just in life and in the community and just serving and all of that. So if you just want to take just a couple of moments and just introduce yourself to the people, let us know what's up.
Well, hello, everybody. My name is Lasheryl Dotch. I'm a licensed attorney here in Alabama, Mobile specifically. I'm also licensed in Georgia and Texas. I am the founder and owner of my own small practice. It's called the Esquires LLC. I also am the city prosecutor for the city of Pritchard. And then I also have some contract jobs that have me kind of on the planning side of events here in the city of Mobile, i.e. Gulf Coast Challenge, Bridge Builder Classic, and then I just recently did Gulf Coast Bash. So I wear many hats.
I love how she's saying these also so calmly, like, I also da-da-da-da-da-da. And I also am Queen of the World. And I also am in the new Black Panther movie. Like, just saying such amazing things. Like, they're small, but it's that just means that your normal life is just amazing like that on a regular basis. Like, this is just what you're doing. And
something.
That is, and that's, we're going to jump right into that. Balancing all of that, what does that even look like on a daily basis?
I keep my calendar, and like if I get a call from somebody and I don't put it on the calendar like right then in that moment, then I'm probably gonna forget. So my calendar is like my best friend. And you know how you can, well, with the iPhone, you can go in and set alerts to alert you before the time. So yes, I have to, it's gonna sound weird, but it basically, having a lot makes me stay on my toes with my deadlines and having to be amazing at time management. So,
and I get that from people. They're like, Ashley, you're so organized, and I'm like, no, I'm actually very scatterbrained. But if I didn't have my planner, or if my Alexa runs my life, so everything is basically scheduled in Alexa, like she just went off and was like, you have an interview, or even just small things like eat lunch. It's, bathe the kids. I will forget, and I'll just be sitting here. I'm like, oh, it's 9 o'clock. No one ate dinner. we need to get that together. Okay. So doing all those wonderful things. One thing I want to point out, how old are you?
I am 33. This is the fact that I just had to think about it. I'm 33.
I do that all the time, especially since my birthday is actually coming up. So I definitely keep forgetting how old I am or how old I'm about to be. And I definitely forget how old my kids are all the time. Like, I don't know, like how one of them 7, one of them 8. I don't know which one. Sometimes it's just one of them, not important. But at your age, having already accomplished so much that you have, and it's really, like, that's like a TikTok these days, and it's like, and I'm just getting started. That's literally what it feels like. You're just getting started, and already so much is going on. So what is it like when you're thinking about, this is where I am right now, these are the hats that I'm wearing, but I know for a fact I still have so many other goals that I'm trying to hit. Like, what is the planning of that kind of looking like?
So, well, one of the constant things my mom always remind me of is how young I am, because I'm always like, I guess from her perspective, it's like I'm moving, like I'm about to run out of time or something.
Okay.
But as so far, the things that I've experienced and the things that I've accomplished, I see it now as being like building blocks for wherever I'm going. Because at this point, I have ideas, but I can't say I really have a solid, like, okay, you know what, in 5 years, I want to be doing this.
Yeah.
But I would say like more so like a current goal or my short-term goal would be to get acclimated with my community because I'm newly back in Mobile.
Yeah.
I had lived here since consistently since high school.
And you
So
came
that's
back like right at the start of the shutdown, right?
right. Yeah, because I want to say COVID was like mid-March and I flew
Yeah.
home. I flew home March 21st.
Okay. And the shutdown was actually announced on my son's birthday. So
Okay.
it was March 11th because I remember it was his birthday and we had planned his birthday party for that weekend. And I canceled his party because I'm like, oh my gosh, we're all gonna get COVID and die. So I didn't want him to be in contact with other people, but I got them from school and took him to get ice cream. And that was the birthday. And then like they literally were announcing on the news at the frozen yogurt place, after Tuesday, no one can go anywhere. They're like, oh, okay.
Yes.
And you came home.
Yes.
Okay.
But yeah, so I would say short-term goal wise, that would be it to get.
In what way though? Like, you know,
all aspects.
And I need
it.
Break it down for us. Like what do you actually like to do?
I need to kind of like reacclimate myself here. You know, growing up, high school, you have your parents, you know, people they know your parents and people you went to school with. And I just came back and it was like, people don't really know me. So, and I'm a social person and
me too.
With what I do, a lot of like my clients will come off of referrals from somebody else I may have helped. So just kind of getting myself out there to kind of build relationships, network, and to see, you know, what's going to be here from Mobile. Like, I never would have thought I would have came back home. Like my mom
Why do you say that? I just want to know, like, why do you say that?
Because my mom groomed us, me and my siblings, to go off to school and just come back to visit.
Okay.
Because opportunities wise, it will be hard to kind of break ground. Now that I've like, you know, moved away from home, went to school, lived elsewhere, I feel like that's something that needs to be done, period. Like you need to go away. You need to have those experiences, see different parts of the country, see what you like, see what you don't like, because at that point, you're kind of getting to know yourself in all aspects, what you like, what you don't like, what climate area in the US you like best, you know, which natural disasters do you prefer, hurricanes over tornadoes, or, you know, like
or snowstorms or
earthquakes.
Like what's your poison? What you gonna do?
Yes. And so I feel like
we're hurricane people.
Right. And being a hurricane person, tornadoes, I think, no, not tornadoes, earthquakes, because I don't know where to go.
I think and this is so, I promise y'all this is on topic. So if you're listening, like seriously, people will ask me, because I travel a lot. Like I haven't moved away, but I travel a lot. And I'll say I'm from the Gulf Coast and people are like, how do you deal with hurricanes? I said, I feel like that's the easiest thing to deal with. I said, because a hurricane doesn't sneak up on us. We know it's coming, you know, at least a good 3 days in advance, like exactly where it's going. And I remember telling someone that when I look back as an adult, I realized that our vacations we took in the summer, in my brain, I had like made them vacations. No, we were running from hurricanes. Right. So we would spend a lot of time in Nashville or like go to Huntsville and stuff. And I'm like, it's because we were running from a hurricane. It wasn't like that was family vacation. We just needed to run. And while we were up there, they were like, let's go to Opryland. Right. So yeah, so you pick, you know, learning where you want to live, what kind of climate you want to live in, and then career-wise, learning if it's actually true or not, or like, can my career thrive where I'm from? Right. We have that myth of my career, I have to move somewhere else. I'm like, well, hell, wait, everybody can't move. Wait a second. Like, somebody got to be here. So you decided to come back. And when it came to, were you like straight off doing private practice? Did you connect with somebody else? Like, what were you doing when you first came back?
When I first came back, I was still working remotely for
Okay.
my job out in Albuquerque, New Mexico.
Okay. Okay.
So when COVID first started, everything shut down.
Mm-hmm.
So everything went 100% remote. So that's what I was doing when I first moved home. Because I have a lot of people that are like, I didn't even know you were here. I was here probably almost a year before people realized that I was back home.
And I think the only reason I knew, I randomly one day, like since I work on social media, I catch stuff before other people do. And I think I randomly saw you post something about, it was kind of like funny of like the world about to shut down, I'm going home. Like it was kind of like that, like, let me get on a plane real quick before everything shut down. And I remembered seeing that post like, oh, she's home or whatever. But you're right. It's not like you posted about it every day and was letting people know I'm in town now. You ain't.
I was inside running from COVID. Outside.
I don't want to see nobody. Don't open my door. DoorDash, leave my food and walk away.
Exactly.
So, okay. So now what's interesting to me, like I said, like you said, you were still working remotely, but it almost looked like the idea of building something on your own had always kind of been there.
Well, yes, it was something, it was always on my to-do list, like I usually say. So when I came back home, I would say, so that was March 2020. I started thinking about opening my practice the beginning of the year. I'll say like February of 2021.
Okay.
And at that time, I was still, so from the time I came home, I'll say probably until like late September, early October of 2020. I'm like, could I see myself living in Mobile? Like, am I supposed to stay here? Like, what am I supposed to do with this? Like, what is this?
And it's amazing. I mean, anyway.
Right. I have been contemplating that and trying to get used to saying that, like, oh, where do you live? Oh, I live in Mobile. And it was just like, so February.
The way you said, I'm trying to get used to saying it. Like, I live in Mobile.
Right. And so what happened? February, I was like, I could do my own practice and trying to like go back and forth on what I wanted to call it, what stuck out to me. And I ended up launching it the end of May of 2021.
Okay. So private practice starting. I know nothing about that world. So we're not even going to get into the details of like how that world operates. I want us to kind of go back.
Okay.
So we're going to kind of go back. I was talking to you a little bit about this earlier, and it's like, okay, going back, because we see all the fabulousness that you are now. And for those of you who are just listening and can't see her right now, I'm going to need y'all to watch the video too on YouTube because sis looks fabulous. And
thank you.
I feel like you need to have like a professional fashion Instagram or something, because anytime I catch you out, like she says, she's social, so am I. Anytime we run into each other, like the outfit is clean, the shoes be on, like.
Oh, thank you. I definitely got to tell my mama because she made me send her a picture every day. I have to take a selfie and send it.
I look really like all the time, so I need y'all to like watch this too. But okay, going back, let's just say like you're a little kid, it's like 6th grade, 7th grade or whatever. You're trying to think, what do I want to be when I grow up? And, they ask you, what do you want to be? And then you get to high school and they really, really want to know what you want to be.
Right.
Where was your mind like during that time? And was it even leading towards this?
It was always, I wanted to be a lawyer.
Really?
Then it got weird. It
got weird.
As I was getting ready to start college.
Okay.
To this day, I cannot explain my 18-year-old mind.
What were you going to do when you were 18? Like what?
So I got to Auburn, went to Auburn for undergrad. And I was like, it's going to take me too long to become a lawyer. I'm going to become a pharmacist.
Oh, okay. It's not the same thing at all, but all right.
Not the same thing. Pharmacy, you have to do 4 years to get a bachelor's, and then you typically do 4 years.
And why did you think this was a short period of time? I'm not understanding if that was
So,
your reasoning.
right. So at the time, Auburn had this program where you could do like 3 years, do undergrad in like 3 years, but you wouldn't graduate and you would apply for, you wouldn't graduate with your bachelor's yet. And you would apply for pharmacy school, start that program. And then when you finish pharmacy school, you got your doctorate and your bachelor's. So that made it 7 years. Still cannot explain why I felt like that was better when law school and undergrad total is 7 years as well. So I don't know what I had going on, and I don't like science, so I really can't explain. I really can't explain why I was.
I'm exhausted listening to both of those options. I'm already tired. Like, oh, so 7. Okay. All right. So you just, okay. So you're deciding when you actually got to Auburn though, which route did you like? What track were you on?
I started with the
Pharmacy.
school.
Okay. So when did you switch?
I think my first switch was after first semester, but I switched I switched to political science. And then sometime in my second year, I switched to public admin because I was like, if push came to shove and I had to get a job after undergrad, public administration was something better than political science.
Yes, these are facts.
As far as,
sorry to anyone who's listening if you're in political science.
right.
But you probably if you majored in that, you probably agree with this.
Yes, you have to have something else with outside of poli sci.
Yeah, something else has to go along with it.
Right.
So you weren't even in pharmacy long, because what I was gonna ask was if you were in pharmacy, if you had really put in some time with it, what was that conversation like with your mom? Like, well, mom, actually I'm gonna switch and do something else. Like, wait, sis, we already paid for all this college, but you switched it early.
Right. And she was like, I don't know why you didn't, because she couldn't understand why I was
You just waited to come to your senses anyway.
Right. Exactly. Because she couldn't understand what I was doing either. And yeah.
It more so would have been the conversation of how was it when you first told her in high school, I'm not going to be a lawyer anymore. I'm going to be a pharmacist. And
I didn't even decide then. It was literally like the summer after graduation.
Literally just walked onto campus like, you know what?
I'm going to go do this. Yes. You want to do what? Okay. So,
I slightly blame guidance counselors and student advisors for that, because they literally they just let us float around like feathers in the wind, like it was okay. I'm like, no, somebody needs to give us some direction, because we were just in college to be in college. We're like, I gotta go do more than football games. And y'all not helping me stay focused. So okay. So finishing law school. Well, I want to know just in law school in general. Did you go to Auburn? Where'd you go to law school?
No, I went to Jones in Montgomery.
I was like, does Auburn even have a law school? Like, I have no idea. I didn't think so. Okay. You get in law school, and this is something that has been a popular topic just recently when it comes to minorities in law school. And that experience is, even if sometimes you may end up going to a school where the numbers are okay, you'd be like, it's some people, they'll say they went to a law school and it was like 3 of us and that was it, and it was an awkward dynamic. But some will say there was a nice little amount of other Black students and students of color, but it was a lot, but there were only a couple of women, or there were a nice bit of minorities, but there was still some inconsistencies happening. We still saw some things. Like, so how was just like your law school experience like for you? Like, was there anything you experienced, or like how was your journey?
So I would say, I remember when we first started orientation. Not gonna lie, orientation was like, I felt like I was being hazed. Oh, no. And yes. And it, as far as numbers go, it was like, I know they kept saying that we were the largest, the class that had the largest amount of Black people.
Okay.
And it was probably like 30 of us.
Okay. Out of a total of what?
Maybe like 130, 125.
Okay.
And so as far as women too, it was definitely more women than men.
And that's interesting.
Yes, it was definitely more as far as the minorities, which
Okay.
are predominantly Black.
Okay.
Um, it
Whereas
was more,
there are more Black women in college in general than men. So
this is true.
yeah. So
And I guess the experience to answer that part of the question, I would say it was another time that I should have listened to my mom because she was like, she wanted me to go like after undergrad, she wanted me to go out into the working world and like experience like having my first real job for a few years and then go to law school. And I was like, if I
yeah.
don't go now, then I'm not gonna go.
That person too. I don't think I could have done that either. I don't have the discipline to take some time because lo and behold, look, if I had went out into the real world and started making some real coins, you may not have been able to get me to go back to college. So
That's true. And what ended up happening, like, and how things end up transpiring for me, that if I would have taken a few years off instead of just one, because I had a gap year in between undergrad and law school. But if I would have taken just like a few years, I probably would have finished everything and getting licensed at the same time. By the way, that journey of law school and the bar exam took me. So it was like, would I have been different? But then at the same time, I remember being in school and, you know, like some of my classmates were just coming out of undergrad. But I never thought about it until I was in it. But those few years not only would have given me, you know, that working experience, it would have also given me that discipline, like the time management I have now. Because when you go from undergrad to law school, it's not like how you can have fun in undergrad, wake up, go to class. It's not the same. And I remember me and my classmates that were like my year, or I mean, my age, or had just come out of undergrad. We were admiring the people that were older, but started with this, but they had like families, kids, husbands, wives.
And you're like, how are you doing this?
Right. But it was the fact that they were in the mindset of, okay, this is my class schedule. This break time that I have in between before, say, 5 o'clock, you know, when everybody gets off work, when you're probably picking up your kids from daycare or after school programs, they knew how to use that time that they had wisely.
Yeah.
As opposed to us being used to just like, oh no, I could do it later. So it was that discipline that they had. And we were like, how are they doing all this? But they know they got this strategic amount of time. Exactly. No time to be parlaying or looking at social media because you can do it later. No, they need to do it this because they got to dedicate that other time to their family. So
there is no do it later. It's do it now at this time. Whereas the fresh out of undergrad versions of ourselves, we're like, I'm gonna take a nap. Exactly. Or a new movie came out, or you know, just doing something random as opposed to that time management. So I understand it. I get that. I see that. One thing I've noticed is how much you talk about talking to your mom.
Yes.
And y'all relationship. I know like my mommy was my best friend on the planet. I tell people that all the time. And now people know for a fact, like my grandma is my best friend. And I'll take her on a road trip or a trip out the country over any of my friends any day. Like I'm gonna call her first. The only reason y'all made it on this trip because she said no. So I just want to hear like about like your relationship when it comes to like talk and how that kind of evolved. Cause I'm like, it may not have been that way when you were 14, or it may have been, who knows? But I want to see like when it comes to tying that relationship into your decision-making process of all kind of aspects of your life, moving, work, school, relationships, ratchet friends, whatever. Like how is your conversation and relationship?
So I would say like undergrad. Yeah, undergrad, because that's the first time being away from home. I call her mama, check in maybe like once a week or she's got to call me. After that, going into law school, we talk more frequently. Law school was definitely a challenge for me because it changed everything. It's nothing like undergrad at all. The things that I experienced during law school, and then like when after I sat for the bar the first time in Alabama. And I had a whole, like, it was like an episode of Iyanla Fix My Life. And my mama was Iyanla.
There you go. Okay. Okay. And what was that? Wait, what was that like though? Like just that experience of like, I'm trying to break that, like mama coming to fix my life. Like what's happening?
So I'm not a crier. That's number one. She's always, I'm not a crier. She's always been like, I remember like being in middle school at Dunbar, like the dance thing for the dance performance for the year and everybody crying. So I'm crying. She's like, what you crying for? You gonna see them next year? Like, that's my mama. So, and then like for everything, like elementary school, middle school, always that A honor roll, AB honor roll, kid, like always.
Yeah.
So I think in hindsight, it was like, and I told my mom this, like, I feel like feeling something once is very important. It's a very important lesson to learn. And while I was going through that, I would always ask her, why did I have to get it so late? Mm-hmm. And
that's a word.
It was like, what do you mean I didn't pass it? I did everything I was supposed to do. Like, what do you mean? Like, not understanding, like, why is this happening? And she couldn't understand why it was so detrimental to me and that I was taking it so hard. But I was like, look, I've never failed at anything.
Yeah.
And it was like,
in her mind, she's like, you do know you can take it again, right?
Right. But me, it was just like what people feel on any level when they experience failure. And I just think it's not as heavy for a child as opposed to an adult. And I think that a lot of adults, when it comes to something like the bar or any kind of professional exam, when they don't pass it, it like hits them like a ton of bricks. And you have a lot of people that never try again.
Yeah. I get that like that because like I have my master's degree, but I took the GRE twice and like bombed. Like just I'm like, did I even go to college? Do I know anything? And I remember the first time I ever had like a failing grade in anything was freshman year undergrad. So, and I was coming out of, I made great grades at everything. I had, through elementary school, middle school, high school, basically, except like math. But the only reason I didn't make good math grades is because I didn't care. I in no way cared. I think this is stupid. I'm not gonna try. So I'm gonna do the bare base minimum in these classes. But it was a science class, and I had always done very well in science. And all of a sudden, we took like 2 quizzes and a test and something, and I had just barely passed the 2 quizzes and was nervous already. And then took the quiz, the actual test, and made a legit F, like E whatever, like you failed this. And I remember the same thing. I called my mom, like I thought she was gonna be mad with me and just disappointed in me as a child. And then I'm hyperventilating, and she's like, "It's okay. Like I get it. We're gonna figure this out, but I need you to breathe right now." And get yourself together, because I was still young, but we were technically adults. And it's that mindset of, like you said, like failure. You failed at something, especially when you're not used to it. But even if you have experienced failure before, failing at 14, 15 and failing at 22 is not the same thing.
Nope.
It hits you different. And even like by the time I took the GRE, I had undiagnosed test anxiety basically all my life, because when we were in school, that wasn't a thing. It didn't have a name. And it wasn't until I got in college that they actually named it something. And that's how I started doing yoga, actually, was to combat my anxiety and stuff. And taking that GRE, I remember being flustered. I remember I got hot. I was like, I can't. And I knew that information. Had taken practice tests and stuff and did great grades, but I remember I completely failed it. And it did. It, like you said, it changes something in you with the way you see things, the way you see yourself, the way you approach situations in the future. When you suddenly fail at something and you're not used to it. And if somebody's listening to this and they're like, these perfect girls sitting here talking about they ain't never failed nothing. No, it's not that, you know, we've never failed at anything in life. Personal life, I was probably failing at things constantly. But right. If I was failing at personal things, at least I knew, you know what, Ashley got good grades.
Right.
Ashley smart. She can speak well. She can do this presentation. If you give her a project, she got it. She may not make good life choices sometimes. But school, I had that down. So I know what you mean is when you get to that level of something, especially when it's something you're passionate about, you develop this passion for being a lawyer. And then this is the only thing standing in the way. And they're basically like, you suck.
Basically.
and that's how you take it. What are you going to say?
I was going to say, and she knew the moment I called her hysterical and crying and screaming, she got on the road. And we had like it was a Y'all Fix My Life weekend. And I'm trying to remember this movie. We'd gone to the movies to see it. And you've probably seen it. It was like the woman was having problems in her marriage. She had a prayer closet.
Mm-hmm. War Room?
Who?
Was it War Room with Priscilla Shire?
I think so.
Yeah, War Room. Okay. Got it.
We went to the movies and we saw that, and we like got our nails done.
That was like, what was that, like 2012, 2013? 15. Okay. Because I'm trying to think of like when did what you're right. Okay. War Room came out because funny story, because I got divorced in 2015. War Room came out around that same time. That's why I remember, because she was going through it in that movie. So
she was.
I felt her. But anyway.
Yes, we had like a whole weekend. Because with a bar, you know, you take it 2 times a year, February and July. So the July bar results will come out like the end of September for Alabama.
Okay.
And they leaked.
Oh, how? What is this, like the Drake album? What you mean it leaked? Who
leaked
the bar exam results? Like
I don't know how they leaked, but they leaked the night before. And I was devastated. Like, I was like, maybe that's not the real list. Like,
it's not tomorrow, it'll be something different.
Right. So, my mom come, we have this weekend. She like, you're going to take it again. Pay, go ahead and pay for it. Because, the next time wouldn't be until February. Yeah. From that time that I got those bar results to like a couple weeks before the February exam, I can honestly say now I was depressed. Mm-hmm. I was depressed, stressed, and that was my glimpse into how stress could potentially kill you, and how it could create health issues.
Mm-hmm. Oh, what happened?
Like I started getting like stomach ulcers.
That's real life. That's real. People need to know that is real life.
Right. And that was like, I guess they probably found like stomach in pain. Don't know why. Mm-hmm. Find out it's stomach ulcers. And I think one of them maybe was like about to rupture, something like whole medication, all of this, all from stress and depression. So, I had already paid for it because, your parents like, you're going to do it. You're going to take it again. And here's the card, like put the info, submit it, pay for it. So it was like I was home from Mardi Gras 2016. And I was like, okay, I'm going to take it again, but I'm not ready for this February exam. So I ended up paying an additional like $50 to push it to the July exam. And in between that February testing and July, I linked up with an attorney in Montgomery that didn't pass the bar his first time. And he literally taught me how to take the test.
Oh, okay.
And that was how I studied. Because a lot of those professional exams, you have to learn how to take the test.
Yeah, my sister and her husband, they do that. Like train for the ACT and the SAT, like they know the whole science behind taking the exams and stuff. And listening to them do it, I'm like, this is insane. I never knew. It's probably why I had test anxiety. If we had that type of training when we were probably 15, a lot of us would probably have done a lot better on stuff like SATs and ACTs.
Yes.
But I'm glad that was something that somebody even was able to give you as a resource.
Right. And then it was like, I'm ready for the July test. And then next thing I know, they're telling me, oh, they didn't process my application. And I'm like, what do you mean? I paid you guys last year and I paid you extra money to do it. So summer 2016, after the stress of studying, I had to file suit against Alabama State Bar.
What?
I had to file suit against them and to do that, I had to file a writ of mandamus with the Alabama Supreme Court.
And because that means
the Alabama Supreme Court is the governing body over the Alabama State Bar. So to give you an analogy, if you're a customer at Target and you want to file a complaint, you're going to go to the manager because the manager can tell that employee what to do.
Okay.
Theoretically speaking.
Okay.
So in this stance, Alabama Supreme Court is like the manager.
It's like the manager.
The Alabama State Bar is like the employee.
Okay, so you call their manager and said,
basically, had a file suit.
I want to speak with the manager about my bar exam.
Right, and I'm like, a writ of mandamus, like I know what that is, but I just got out of law school, and that's when I linked with like the presiding judge in Montgomery, and a local firm, and everybody's just trying to like gear me up, like the support. Like I'm talking about the one of the firms, I didn't even know these people like at all. And like, yeah, you guys can't legally represent me, but just the fact that you got your high ranking attorneys in this firm willing to kind of like, hey, this is what you need to put in it. Like kind of like somebody helping you study for a test. Like, hey, you need to put this in it. And I can't legally represent you, but when you get finished with it, send it to me so I can read over it and like submitting it to the bar, like filing it with the Supreme Court. And I'm like remembering like I used to work for at the time she was the presiding Chief Justice on the Alabama Supreme Court. So I'm like, I'm knowing she's going to recuse herself, meaning not have a say in which way it goes because she knows me.
She knows you.
But it was like, finally I get to the point where I'm ready to take it, and you mean to tell me they didn't do what they were supposed to do, and I've already paid y'all for it. And it was like Alabama's first year using this electronic system. All of the issues that went wrong with me because they dropped the ball. Because
I was gonna say, like, it sounding like a lot of personal problems. Like y'all, that's unfortunate you guys are going through all of this, but that ain't got nothing to do with me. I need y'all to practice myself.
Right. And I couldn't understand why. It was almost like you've ever been somewhere and say you go in a store and they're like, oh no, you can only get 2 of these, and you're like, you're acting like it's for you, like it's yours, like it doesn't belong to you. Like, why can't you let me take this test that I've already paid you for?
Yeah.
Because what's the big deal?
Just let me.
So
yeah, that's a lot. Yeah.
So they the Alabama Supreme Court ended up denying me. So I had to wait until February of 2017 before I could take it the second time.
That's when you want to just go like flip a table.
And at that point, that's how I knew that I was ready. Mm-hmm. And that's why I said, so you got almost 2 years after law school that I'm getting my license, being sworn in. And that 2 years plus the gap year I did, if I would have probably did 3 years.
Yeah.
That's why I was saying it could.
The timeline still ended up crazy. Okay, so one, I'm happy that you have that support around you, because it's just like starting with your mom for her to be like, no, what we're gonna do, we're gonna pull back, we're gonna look at this from a bird's eye. We're going to reevaluate, make some moves, and just keep it pushing. We're going to tend to ourselves emotionally. We're going to watch a movie. We're going to eat some snacks, get ourselves together, and then move forward. But then also, I think it's beautiful, is that when you find yourself in this situation of they're not going to let me take this test, now other people came to bat for you and were able to support you, even though it didn't turn out exactly how you wanted it to. It was still a beautiful representation of having a solid community around you of people who can recognize the injustice that's happening. Like, nah, we're not doing this. So
yes.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say yes, and they made the changes to where nobody should go through what I experienced. Like, if you send in money, you decide to push it back again, now they're automatically sending out things like, hey, we didn't get because what it is they claim they didn't get something from me. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, here's the notary that signed it, here's the receipt. And now that changed my way in maneuvering when it comes to handling business. Mm-hmm. I'm sending everything certified mail.
And I'm such a paper trail person. I am such a paper, like for the smallest things, I am such a paper trail person. I will even if it's as simple as me, I have like a template service agreement contract that I just keep. This is like a generic one in my phone. So just in case I'm out, and let's just say we were out and I'm at an event with you and you like, hey, can you do my social media for me while I'm here? Just get some behind the scenes. Like I give you $100. You know what I'm saying? Or something. I got a whole thing ready in my phone and I'm gonna text it to you real quick. And I'll be like, yeah, don't cash out me the 100. Just send it through this link, just so we have a paper trail. So that protects everybody. So then I can't one day be like, Lasheryl said she was gonna pay me $500. And I'm like, no, it said 100. Here it is. It was a text, da-da-da-da-da. And you have to be like that because of situations like this. And I'm glad that because you didn't just take it and roll over, it's now helping other people after you.
Right.
To someone.
Right, because I don't know in any business in its most simplest form how you take somebody's money and not return the service, or if you've had a sheet of paper, because it was literally a piece of paper they claimed they didn't get. Mm-hmm. And it's like, if I've already paid you, don't you think you need to follow up to see why you haven't gotten it? Like, because unbeknownst to me, it's been mailed.
Like your failure to have a good workflow.
Yep,
it's not my problem.
Exactly.
Like something. I've had that happen with clients too, or something. They'll say, well, not even necessarily my clients. It'll be like my client's client, and they'll say, oh, well, I didn't know that I needed that. Mm-hmm. Or I never sent you this because of this. And they're like, so you didn't think to ask within the past 3 months or whatever, or you didn't think to request that from your client within the past 2 or 3 months. You let all this time go by and you didn't have this information that you knew you needed from them in order to complete something. And now it's not done and they're upset, and they should be upset because you should have asked for it.
Exactly.
And people just don't, they try to put the blame in a lot of different places. So it's like, I'm so glad that you actually did something, because it will trickle down and somebody else who would end up in that situation now won't have to be in that situation. And I'm going to ask you a question. I kind of feel like the experience you just said may have been that experience, but it may have been something else. I was thinking about, like, you know, you said you end up in that depression, just in that state of like, I don't know how this is going to work out. Like, I've studied so hard and now they're standing in my way. I was thinking about those moments in our careers and in our personal lives, but a lot, especially with work, where we just want to give up. And it's like, just forget it. Just never mind. This is ridiculous. And I know sometimes there's that aha moment of like, this is the moment where it's like, this is stupid. Forget it. I'm quitting. I'm not doing this. I'm getting a job at Target and this is what I'm gonna do. But instead you decide like, no, I'm gonna fight. Like, I'm gonna square up. This is my time. Like, I worked for this. Can you think about and take us through, like, and pretty quickly, because like I said, I'm trying to respect your time, of a moment when you had to do that, and that might have been that moment, or even a moment since then where now you are fully working in your practice or for a company and still have that moment of, you know what, I'm done. I ain't doing this.
That I never, well, with the issue that I went through with the bar, by the time after, you know, the Supreme Court didn't side with me, and so I knew I was sitting for the February 2017 test, I was like, you know what, if I don't get it this time, forget it. Like, I'm done. I've had enough. I've had to fight for this. They've had my money for well over a year. We're looking at a year and a half at this point. And I'm not doing this with Alabama anymore. You know, after this, I'm gonna be done. And I can say it definitely made me, the whole experience made me appreciate it so much more. It made me think differently when it comes to even like interacting with people, because like you have a lot of people, you know, hey, they're graduating high school. Of course, they're going to post it all on social media. It's the best thing ever. Yeah. And I know, like, if it's law school, okay, the bar is coming soon. And one thing that it really changed my perspective on, and I don't think a lot of people realize that they do it inadvertently, but one thing that I absolutely hated was being asked, oh, you graduated from law school? Yeah, I did. Oh, congratulations. Thank you. So how was the bar? And it would like,
I wouldn't even think to ask. Yeah, that's a lie. Yeah.
But people,
they don't think about it. They mean it. They mean it in a good way. They do mean it in a good way.
Right. But after my experience, I'm not going to ask you anything. I don't care if it was the bar. I don't care if it was the test to become a pharmacist. Any kind of professional exam, anything, really. I'm like, I realized how that was such a trigger for me. Because that depression time, and then me, I was clerking for a judge in Montgomery. So it was like somebody literally asked me every day. And it was like, I'll be on the phone. That's another thing that strengthens the relationship with my mom. I would call her every day. I would cry every day. And this is still coming from somebody that's not a crier. And it just gave me another, like, no, I'm not going to ask them that, because I'll be that one less person to ask them that.
Well, that's because almost like an equivalent to when somebody gets married and they're like, oh my gosh, congratulations, you got married. So when are you having kids? And it's like, you have no idea what that person may be going through surrounding having kids. They may have already found out before they even got married that they were struggling having kids, or that they would have difficulty or might have an issue. And that's already in their head. And now you brought it up. Just leave it at the congratulations about the wedding. Just congratulations, you finished law school. Let's not ask any more questions.
Yes. And my mom, she couldn't understand where I was going with it. And I was like, analogies are something I talk in almost all the time to try to get your point whatever I'm trying to say explained thoroughly. And my grandma, my mom's mom, she passed when my mom was really young. And I was like, imagine somebody coming to you and they're like, oh, I know your mom is proud of you. And then you're like, my mom passed when I was 11. Yeah. And then it's like their foot's in their mouth. It's an awkward silence. Then nobody knows what to do. And it's just like, that is, and then you're probably about to have a whole meltdown.
That's a good analogy, because I think that's something else people do when you reach an accomplishment. People think they'll say your family, they'll say, oh my gosh, your parents must be so proud. And they may not know, like, your parents have passed away, or they may not know you may have had a real toxic upbringing. You don't even talk to your parents, or, you know, you may have had an abusive parent or something. You're like, I'm sure your dad is so proud. They're like, you know, my dad used to beat me or something. I don't talk to my dad. Like, you wouldn't know. And that's why I like, just leave it at the congrat. Don't bring other people and scenarios into it. Just congratulations.
Yes. Keep it as simple as possible. But I would say, to kind of sum up my answer, that was my moment. And I think it's changed me to be a better person. Not saying that I was just an awful person prior to the experience, but it just opened my eyes, and I just see things a lot differently. And it's just grace, you know, everybody needs some for whatever reason.
And it's grace and growth. Like, you were just able to grow from that experience and pass on your wisdom to the next person, and then draw from that. So then when you hit other obstacles now, just actively working in your profession, like, look, if I made it through those 2 years of just like feeling the weight of everything, I can make it through this. I came out the other side shining. Again, if you're just listening and not watching, sis is shining. So it's like if you if you made it through that, like I can make it through this, and I can pull on those same tools. I sound like my therapist, and I'll call her or message her about something. She's like, okay, now let's pull some tools from the toolbox.
Right.
How did we go through this last time or this similar scenario, and use these tools so that we can make it through this next time. And situations like that, when we really do realize I have to fight for myself if nobody else will fight for me, or if I'm not even fighting for anybody else, I have to fight, because I can't let these things just things aren't happening to me. I'm allowing things to happen. And when we have that mindset of I'm not going to allow that to happen to me, again, you can take that into every courtroom, every boardroom, every whatever, and just keep pushing. So exactly. I am proud of who you are. Like, amazing. Like I said, like me and Lasheryl for some reason run into each other at almost everything. But I think it's because we are two people who we will go to stuff by ourselves.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't go to things by them. They have to wait on somebody else. And I'll show up at Mardi Gras balls and they're like, who you here with? Me. I'm here with the city.
After living someplace that there was nothing for me to even go to by myself, it has increased the whole I will go somewhere by myself.
Which city would that would have been?
Albuquerque.
I was going to say, I was like, so Albuquerque not popping, you know?
No, I was longing for somewhere to go, and I was fine with going by myself.
There you go. So
because before then, I would be waiting on somebody. Now, let me go over here and go show my face over here.
I just bought tickets to a brunch, and they were like, who you going with? Me. I see somebody when I get there. I want to go to the brunch. I want to get all dressed up and go to the brunch. I'm going to go, and I'm not going to wait. And I think when it comes to our social lives, our professional lives, even that, like, it may be a networking event and people will be like, you know what, I didn't go because I didn't have anybody to go with. I'm like, you just missed out on a networking chance. Could have been the connection of your dreams because you were waiting on somebody else. Like, no. Yep. So take a note from me and Lasheryl. Get cute, buy your ticket, go by yourself.
I hate I'm gonna miss that brunch. I'm gonna be out of town, but have fun for me.
Since I have so many pieces of clothing, my pandemic buys that I keep buying in case I go somewhere, let me put these clothes on and go somewhere. So that's what I'm gonna do. But so wrapping it up, thank you so much for joining me today. This has been good.
Thank you so much for having me.
I am going to is your website up and running?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm gonna make sure that I link your website just in the description, so people, if they need to connect with you or something, I don't know every service that you offer and whatnot. But
everything that's on there, the only thing that's not on there is criminal defense, because I try not to advertise it too much.
Yeah, that's
because of what I do for the city of Pritchard, and I don't want to spread myself too thin. But I'm a state registered mediator for the state of Alabama.
Oh my gosh, I did not know that.
General civil and domestic relations mediation.
Absolutely. And, that's the thing to know, especially if you are, like I said, like my audience, they know I'm divorced. I have children. We've had to have mediators before to have conversations about certain things. It can be the simplest thing. And so if you're listening, sometimes things are handled much better just with a mediator. Like, don't even try to have the conversation by yourself. Just go right ahead, jump to the mediator. So y'all can have a nice, civil conversation about things like that. So you never know. Even I had a friend who they were getting a divorce, and they were just trying to calmly come to a decision about the house that they had.
Right.
And like, let's just, before we have to take real big legal actions against each other or something, let's try to talk like adults.
Exactly.
And we need
a lot of times mediation can smooth everything out, get everybody to an agreement. To at the end of the day, you just signing paperwork.
Just signing paperwork. If we both can agree with what this little piece of paper says, we could both just sign it and be on our way, and nobody has to be upset and draw this out for months and years and things like that. So I get it. I'm glad I know that you do that. That's cool. But so I'm going to put a link to her website in the show notes and in the description on YouTube and all of that. So if you want to get in touch with her, I'll put everything that she allows me to put. I will put it in there. But thank you again. And you have a wonderful rest of your day.
Thank you. You too. And like I said, thank you for having me.
And
I'm honored.
Oh, what'd you say?
I'm honored for you to ask me to be one of your interviewees.
Thank you. Like, I love it. But thank you guys, and catch us on the next episode. We come out weekly on all of your major podcasting platforms and of course on YouTube. So I'll check you guys next time. Bye.